Hi, this is Abby, and I am doing my week 1 commentary. The first reading I dove into was The Strategic Networker by J.P. Hittala. And before I dive into kind of his purpose, I want to point out my favorite part of the chapter, which was him including Ralph Waldo Emerson's quote that all life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better. And I try to take that in every day and just like try, because if you don't try, you'll never know if you can succeed or fail. And even if you don't succeed, you still learn. But the kind of overarching theme that I got from Hittala's book was how to strategically leverage and grow your network. He notes like continuously throughout the chapter that we are all much more connected than we realize. He points out 2 different types of like networks you can have, and one is relational, which is your personal relationships, and the other one is transactional, which is often used in business. And then he kind of sets like 4 subheadings into the book. And what I got from most of it and like the overarching thing again was like being intentional with it. The first one was to set goals with your relationships. Like know what your purpose is with connecting with somebody. And I like reading this, I thought to myself, because a lot of it is like what can you get, but it mentions you have to like know what you can give in return too. Because nobody's just gonna give you. It's like it works both ways. So I thought that was nice to remember. And then the second one was to link your contacts to goals. The third was to develop connection strategies, and the last one was to manage your network connections. Yes, and then I went on to Hall's book, The Hidden Dimension. Chapter 1 is Culture as Communication. And this was an introduction to a man and his relationship to space. The most interesting part to me, and I kind of touched on week 2's because I didn't get to week 1 due to the book. He said, as man developed culture, he domesticated himself. Each world has its own set of sensory inputs. What crowds of people of one culture will not crowd another. Similarly, an act that releases aggression would be stressful to some and neutral to some. And I think this is like a lot more deeper than even like culture, and culture is so deep too, but like there's like such a focus on mental health now too that I think you have to be careful with how people might perceive things in that manner too. So not only just culture, but just like being very considerate. And then chapter 2 was distance regulation in humans. Yes. So he mentions his 4 distances in animals, and it kind of goes in this order. There's flight distance, which is where they're comfortable, but they're like getting uncomfortable. And then critical distance is when they actually leave because they are uncomfortable. And then personal distance is kind of normal and they'll like accept it. And he's talking about animals here. So I think like I can only relate it to dogs because I'm not huge into other animals, but you can just tell when like a dog's at his breaking point and another animal has reached his critical distance and he bites back. But the one I related to most and that I enjoyed reading about most was the social distance. And he mentions a couple animals that like experience this, and it's more of a psychological distance than a physical distance. And it's called your social distance. And it talks about when certain groups of animals lack that, and it affects their health and well-being and how they act as an animal. After having read week 2 readings, these really make a lot more sense. So I'm looking forward to week 3. Thank you.